I was like 21 and I was living in Edinburgh, Scotland. And on my way home, my bag broke and like fell into a puddle. And this guy who was busking actually came over and like helped me pick it up and took me into a cafe and bought me a coffee. And that could have been like a horrible day, but it was like so nice of him to do that. That it totally turned it around and like made me feel like really appreciated and that there was still good people in the world. So it was a great experience.
One small act of kindness that I would never forget. So I'm a doctor in the Philippines, and we had a patient that wasn't able to afford an X-ray, and so my friends they decided to come up with the money themselves to pay for her X-ray, and it ended up that this X-ray ended up saving this patient's lives, and I'll never forget that as a physician because some of our patients we take for granted that not all of them are able to afford all of these treatments that we ask them to go through. So that's something that I have to keep in mind going forward.
I probably has to deal with a coworker when we first met and we first started working together. We had very different views and ways of doing things, and we didn't get along very well. It's been about 2 or 3 years now, and we've come a long way. And just last week, she told me how much she appreciated my openness and willing to work with her, and how much she really enjoys working with me now. And that really meant a lot to me that we came so far and that she does appreciate me, and the way that I do things is different than hers, but we can still work great together.
I made a mistake of taking my truck into mud. I got stuck, and plenty of people helped me, so that was pretty cool. And then I ended up helping somebody else that got stuck, so that was even better. Kind of, I guess, paying it forward. I guess.
Paying it forward. So I happened to order something and it was already paid for.
I believe it was, somebody I didn't know, um, listening to me in a time of need, a time of like mental health need. I think that I was going through just a random person that I talked to and that I explained what I was going through, and them reassuring me that I was going to be okay. And I think the reason that I wouldn't have forgotten it was because usually that's the kind of support you receive from people that are so close to you in life. And when you receive it from somebody that you don't know, it kind of brings you into a place of, how do you say, reassurance that, like, there are still good people out there in the world.
Someone, it was super small, but someone paid for my Starbucks order for me, and it just made my day. It was really nice. Yeah.
I would say it was last week. I'm new here in Texas, and it's only my second week here, but I went to Pearl Street Church right down the road, and they were very kind to me. And one thing that stood out to me when I was there is one of the helpers gave me her personal number, which was really cool because I had just met her like 2 minutes earlier, and she messaged me throughout the week, and it had been like a really busy and tough week. So that small act of kindness, it really meant a lot to me that someone thought about me that had just met me. And also just people that just take a second to get to know you, get to know where you're from, and things like that, I think mean a lot.
2 days ago, I had a random girl compliment me on my hat, and it felt nice. It was just something silly. Came out of nowhere. She said, "Nice hat," and I was like, "That's kind." So I complimented her on her dress, and it was just a nice little interaction that happened between two strangers passing by.
One act of kindness that I'll never forget was a stranger who saw me carrying like some groceries, stopped and actually offered to help me carry them because they noticed that I was walking towards my apartment, but they said the least they could do is at least help me get everything inside.
So one time I was in the streets of Austin. I had gotten split up from my boyfriend, and this one lady, you could tell she was in a hurry, but she stayed with me at the corner of the road for like 10, 15 minutes. She kept on checking her watch. She knew like she was running out of time, but she just wanted to make sure I was safe and that nobody picked me up or anything. And I thought that was really nice, like human compassion. It was super sweet of her.
When I was 13, I ran away from home, and I was on the streets for about 2.5 weeks. And my home life was really, really awful. And this guy, a homeless man, took care of me. He kept me safe. He made it so that I had food. Like, he shared everything he had. And when I was like, look, I don't have much money, but I'm ready to go home now. Like, how can I repay you? He was just like, remember how I took care of you. And when you're in a position to help other people, I want you to do that as a way to repay me. So anytime I see someone begging on the side of the road, I think of him. And I get a little upset when I can't reach them. You know, sometimes you got places to be, or you can't, like, they're just in an awkward spot, so you can't get across to them. But I always try to help out when I can. Yeah, so just pass it on, I guess.